Alderman JP Smith joins us now. Good morning, JP. Yesterday, talks with taxi associations and government were suspended. Is that indefinitely, or do you hope to be back around the table hopefully soon to resolve these issues that we're experiencing?
Morning, Lester. The conversations are essentially being had between the provincial and city transport departments and the taxis. So I'm not part of that. These are transport conversations. But yesterday's one was disrupted by a matter relating to the leadership of Santaco having arrived with guards with assault rifles at the meeting in what appears to have been a contravention of the Firearms Control Act. So we're trying to get to the bottom of that. And when the guards were searched, the Santaco leadership left the meeting. So that unfortunately brought that conversation to a close. The violence is a factor that is constantly setting us back. On Friday last week, when the initial agreement was reached with Santaco, it was on the premise that there would be a cessation of violence. They agreed to that. There would be no further violence. Over that very first night, there was an attack and a murder of a law enforcement officer. The following night, there were 10 vehicles at a depot in Delft burnt out, one private vehicle among those, with strong indication that taxi leadership is involved. So it was a reasonably good indication that it is taxi related. And then yesterday or last night, some additional incidents relating to an attempt to blockade the airport and otherwise. So there's constant bad faith and further fuel on the conflict being poured by the persons within the taxi industry. And again, every indication that the leadership of Santaco are in the loop with that violence. So I'm hoping that we can reach some kind of agreement, but that agreement cannot be premised on the fact that there will be a cessation of future enforcement and equality before the law. Because if you make that concession, you will be making many more such concessions in months to come every time there is the threat of violence, which unfortunately is what we're seeing here.
JP, you were in the company of the president last night at the Netball World Cup. Did he ask to be briefed? Plenty of messages here saying it seems that law enforcement, South African police don't have a handle on the violence. It's only the president that can make a call on whether the SANDF gets called in. I hope it never gets there. But was the president briefed?
He and I had a short conversation about the matter, and I mean, I have a particular view on what is actually going on here, but I am not at liberty to repeat any of that conversation. Suffice to say that I am sure that he is getting some of the same crime intelligence and other reports as we are seeing. And what South Africa needs to decide is what kind of future we want to live in, a place where when certain groups of people who engage in criminal activity threaten and execute violence, that the rules must change for them or not. Somebody said to me over the weekend, what we're dealing with here is not a business, it's not an industry, but a criminal syndicate now.